Here we have the Dell XPS 9300 2020 model. This thing is pretty damn awesome. In fact, we're going to find out if this is the best 13-inch laptop in the world. To start with, this computer has the i7 10th generation processor. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM, and it came with a 512 gigabyte NVMe drive, but we swapped that out for a 1 terabyte NVMe drive. And I'll get into a little bit about that later. However, that is one of the perks on this machine, is that it's upgradable. Now, one of the most obvious choices is to compare this with the MacBook Pro, and we will in another video, but today we're going to focus specifically on the Dell XPS. So let's go ahead and dive a little bit deeper into this computer. For starters, one of the first things you'll notice, or probably won't notice, is that the Dell XPS comes with a 13.4-inch screen. So unlike most 13-inch laptops and the MacBook Pro, for example, this has a 13.4 instead of a 13.3. Now, it is a full high-definition screen, and this one is not optioned with the touch screen capabilities. Dell does offer upgradable options to touch screens. They also offer upgradable options to 4K displays as well, but this one has the FHD. And even so, this monitor is super bright and super crisp. It is one of the best panels I've ever seen on a computer, much less a laptop. It's a pleasure to use. It's not fatiguing to the eyes. Everything is bright, and the blacks are very deep, colors are very vivid. It airs probably slightly to the warmer side, but otherwise is very neutral. And all in all is just an absolute joy to use. And of course, it is what they call their Infinity display, but basically it has no bezels, so it just sort of immerses you into using this laptop. Another thing that you'll notice right out of the box is that the materials on the Dell XPS are very premium. Now, of course, the Dell XPS line is Dell's premium line, and you're paying for it. That said, you get this nice sort of metal enclosure. The entire body of the computer is this beautiful aluminum, and on the sides here you have this beautiful brushed effect that I almost kind of wish Apple would take. On the inside, you've got that kind of carbon fiber looking thing, and of course there it's booting up. I'm going to shut it off in a second and I'll get a close-up of this, but you've got this kind of carbon fiber looking material right there. Now, this carbon fiber or faux carbon fiber material type thing has been around on the XPS series probably since it began, or at least since the 9000 series XPSs began. And I really like the material. It's comfortable to use. It holds up very, very well. It doesn't really show fingerprints and smudges and dirt. So even though it's not full aluminum, kind of like Apple does it, it's still a very nice material, and it sort of just feels good to keep your palms rested on it. All in all, the XPS has fantastic fit and finish, and it is by far one of the best sort of like made and presented computers that you can buy. And that includes the nice box that they come with as well. But suffice to say, I actually think I like the box on the XPS better than I do the MacBook Pros. So if you're looking to buy a computer specifically for the box, then you should probably get the XPS. Let's dive a little bit deeper into the technical specs on this machine. This one again comes with 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM and the i7 10th gen processor. It comes with the Intel Rapid storage and the Intel Iris Plus graphics card. Now, this thing is screaming fast. I mean, this is by far one of the snappiest notebooks that I have ever used. Everything just sort of, I mean, it boots instantly. It's quick, it's nimble. Anything that you throw at it, it's going to do, and it's going to do it very well. If you're doing anything with Photoshop where you're going to be editing like a lot of RAWs, this thing is by far going to handle it with no problem at all. You can probably get a little bit of video editing done on this thing. So even though it's got the Iris Plus graphics, where you may not be able to do like a whole lot of 4K editing, maybe a little bit, but not much. This thing is you'll be able to do any kind of 1080p editing that you want on it with no problem at all. And certainly if you have some like lower like quality file, like 2K, 3K files, like something that comes maybe from like your iPhone, you'll have no problem editing it on this thing either. As far as gameplay is concerned, because this one doesn't have the 4K screen, you could probably play a little bit, you could probably play some games on it. You could probably do like Fortnite, StarCraft, and if you played a AAA title, you probably wouldn't be able to do much beyond like low settings, just due to the graphics card itself, but nevertheless, you could do a little bit of gaming on here if you wanted. And of course, because the storage is expandable, both with not only USB-C, but then the internal NVMe drive as well, you'll be able to load this thing up with videos, with pictures, with music, whatever it is you might want. This thing is basically a media masterpiece. Which leads me into using the Dell XPS. The keyboard and the trackpad are the best I have ever used in the PC world. First off, everything just sort of feels nice on the keyboard. It's crisp, but it's also sort of like soft. It's just pleasant to type on. It's got the full-size keys, so you're not going to have a whole lot of typos, and the trackpad is accurate. I mean, you swipe and point, and it gets there. It distinguishes the right and left click very well, and just has this sort of very nice tactile, soft click. If you're like a writer or a traveling journalist or even a student, where you're just tapping away at this thing in a classroom, this is going to be one of the best keyboards you could possibly have on a laptop. It also comes with a backlight on the keyboard, and in the little corner here, you've got a fingerprint reader. It does come with a Windows Hello compatible camera, Wi-Fi 6, and Bluetooth 5. Let's talk input and output on the Dell XPS 9300. USB-C on this side, micro SD reader on that side, USB-C on this side, and a TRRS headphone and microphone multi-use jack. So it's a little bit bare bones by compared to other laptops. You know, basically you're gonna be able to pop in one of those USB-C hubs, and that'll of course add Ethernet, HDMI, regular USB, or additional USB-C ports if you need. But I would say most people using this laptop, again, it's gonna be either like students, journalists, anybody kind of needing that sort of premium high-end machine, and they're probably not going to be using a whole lot of I/O. After all, this is a portable notebook, so you're not gonna be just sort of keeping this thing on your desk. If you need a desktop laptop with this amount of horsepower, you'll obviously go with like the XPS 15, but this is the travel companion. This laptop is absolutely fantastic and I love it, but you should love it for the price. It's not cheap. This one, I think, was priced somewhere around the $1,500, $1,600 range. So again, depending on where you spec this thing, you can of course get into the 2000s. So it's not a cheap laptop, and it is a MacBook Pro competitor. So for the money, you should absolutely love the computer. But who is it for? I think this is anybody looking for a premium, fast, just all around cream of the crop laptop. This is for a student traveling from dorm to classroom, taking notes in the classroom, going to the library. Because of the materials of this laptop, it can certainly take quite a bit of abuse. This is for traveling journalists, traveling businessmen. This is primarily just for travelers. This is certainly something that you could even take probably on site if you're doing like filming or photography, and then you can do some like editing on the fly. Because of that expandable NVMe drive, and of course the USB-C where you can plug in an external SSD, you can get some editing done really, really fast on this thing. So this is probably not going to be for like accountants or anybody that needs that numpad because they're inputting numbers in on a day-to-day basis. It's probably not quite for gamers, although you could certainly game on it if you need to. But this is just all around a nice portable laptop, and if you're looking for the best of the best, this is pretty much it. What are some things I don't like about the Dell XPS 9300? Well, the speakers could do to be a little bit better. All in all, this thing kind of failed our speaker test. They are a little bit tinny. There's a little bit of distortion. They're not the worst on any laptop that I've ever heard, and they do get decent enough volume. But if you're an audiophile, you are definitely going to want a pair of headphones. Everything else had just an incredible attention to detail, but it seems that Dell kind of left the speakers out. But Apple managed to do it with their 13-inch MacBook Pro. The speakers are phenomenal on that computer, so I can't help but think that Dell could have maybe paid a little bit of closer attention on the speakers in this one. The webcam quality on this thing is outstanding. And in fact, here is a test of the webcam now. This is a test of the webcam on the Dell XPS 9300. Couple of other quick notes. This thing does have the dual USB-Cs on it on each side, so that means that the USB-C charger that it comes with will work in both ports. That's kind of nice. The other sort of notable thing is the key on the keyboard. All the keys sort of feel fantastic and awesome, except the arrow keys. Now, the arrow keys are, you've got the two sort of big ones, and then the up and down are the small ones. And those are the only part of the keyboard that feel a little bit just not as uniform as the rest of it. It doesn't feel bad, it's just not quite as pleasant to press down on as the rest of it. But the rest of the keyboard is fantastic. This is probably one of the best Windows-based 13-inch laptops you can buy. Again, great fit and finish, awesome quality and craftsmanship. Dell technical support, still lacking a little bit. I have not found a whole lot of customer support companies that I have liked recently. Hate to say this, but Apple still is probably one of the better ones. That said, Dell's customer support is lacking. You will get transferred to Indian-based customer support, which is fine, except that you will get bounced around on the phone quite a bit. We had an experience where we had to dial into their customer service, got transferred 10 times, and eventually just gave up and said, fuck it. But that said, you're probably not gonna have that many problems with this Dell XPS, and if you do have a major issue with it, they will replace it. In fact, they will send you a new XPS first and then have you send this one back. So that's kind of nice. They do the whole like advanced replacement thing. It is just a great laptop, and anybody that buys it will love it. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to comment in the comment section if you have any questions as well. And we will be back with a comparison video real soon.